Welcome back to today's class. I still remain your instructor, Ibrahim-B.Babangida. I'm an educationist. This class is for ss2 students, third term scheme of work. Today we'll be looking at General Ibrahim-Babangida military regime of 1985 to 1993. So you can see him here. This man you are seeing is the picture you are viewing here is the man, the General Babangida, who is popularly known as IBB. He is still alive up to the time of recording this video. This is 2020, the year 2020. Alright. Okay, please, you have to pay a serious attention to this man's military regime because we have a lot to achieve. But before we start in his historical background and how he led, please do well to subscribe to our channel in case you have not done that, and hit the bell icon that you are seeing. Click on it so that anytime we release a new video, you'll be notified. Then on that comment section there, you can ask your question there, and by the grace of God, we will respond to you as fast as possible. Alright. General Ibrahim-Babangida, he was born in August, that is 1941, in Mina. That is, Mina is in Niger State. And he got into military, was enlisted into Nigerian Army in 1962. Then he was promoted to lieutenant in 1963. And he became a captain in 1968. That is when he became the commander of the 44 Infantry Battalion. Then he was moved to the Nigerian Defense Academy, which is in Kaduna, and that is in 1970. There he was moved there as an instructor and the commander for Reconnaissance Regiment and Army Armored Corps. That is in 1975. Now, he rose to the rank of a brigadier general. That is in 1979. And with the military takeover of government, which happened in 1983, he became Chief of Army Staff and member of the Supreme Military Council, SMC. So one thing you observe, since you have been discussing military regime in Nigeria, you will observe and bear with me that each military regime works with the SMC. They love to, when they take over, they will organize SME, which is Supreme Military Council. This is an executive organ which comprises of military men. They make law there, they do make decree there, and do whatever they want to do. Now, so Babangida was of Gwari origin and a Middle Belt Muslim, and was Nigeria's 6th military ruler as of 1990. And he was the most powerful as of that time. If you want to compare with Buhari, Then he was a somewhat more methodical ruler. That is, he has his own special methodology of rulership. And his kind of rulership is very different from other people or from other military leaders, especially from Buhari. Although during Buhari administration, Buhari was very stern and resolute because of his regime was focused on discipline. So that is why we say that Buhari was very stern and resolute in his rulership. But Babangida is a kind of, he was tactical. He used tactics. His regime was more of technical kind of administration. Although he said Babangida there was a kind of report, just a report, you can't call it rumor, that he took part in the coups of all these several coups that will coup d'etat that we have experienced in Nigeria. And as a result of that experience gave him confidence, gave him serious confidence on how to handle national affairs. You know, when you get involved in something as often as possible, you develop a kind of serious confidence. Although he's a kind of leader that you cannot predict. And when he came to power, he was agitating for a human right. It was more of a human right activist. But when he grabbed power, all those things got down. But one great thing that he did was that he released some politicians that were in prison. Vision that Buhari put to prison because of his discipline measure. He wanted to do discipline them. So thereabout. Then we have the famous decree. You know, military works with decree and edict. So we have the famous decree, which is decree number 2, which was still in force. Even in 1990. But in decree number 4, he have to release or freed all the detained journalists during Buhari regime. And thereabout. Alright. Okay, in his government, he made a kind of, he brought some kind of serious development. Then there we are the establishment of mass mobilization for economic recovery. Then he preached self-reliance and social justice. That was in August 1987. Then he created 2 additional states within that period. Okay. So on September 23rd, 1987, he intended to further enhance Nigeria federal system and the setting of Constitution Review Committee, which is CRC, and the National Electoral Commission, which is NEC. You know, Nigeria In our electoral commissions, they have been giving it so many names since inception, since Nigeria started doing an election. Today we hear of NEC. There was a time they named our electoral system FEDECO, but now we are using INEC. So they have been changing the names. Then in September 1987, then in December 1987, local government elections were held on non-party basis. So he did so many things in order to foster the development of Nigeria. Then his further milestone, one of his achievements, is that the transition program were reached in the next several years. They included the submission of a report and draft constitution by the CRC in March 1988. Alright. So let's look at the achievement of the Babangida administration. Let's look at it numerically, so that you pen down you pen it down number by number. The number one under his achievement, upon assumption of power, this regime abrogated the unpopular decree 1920 and decree number 2, and then promised to reorganize the National Security Organization. That is that. The number 2, the Structural Adjustment Program, SAP, was introduced to restructure and diversify the economy in order to promote the production of other goods for export, and reduce dependence on single product, which is oil. Then the third one was the notorious import license system was abolished. He abolished it because he want made in Nigeria products to be promoted. Okay, number 4, there was the attainment of a realistic value for the naira. Yes, during his regime, naira had a great sense of value. But when you look at today, naira is almost nonsense. The number 5, the civil service was reformed, including the replacement of permanent secretaries with director generals. The number 6, which is the last one we'll take for today, there was commercialization and privatization of many parastatals in order to enhance their efficiency and productivity. Okay, let's look at his program, because during Babangida's regime, he made a program which he wanted to transit power, give power back to the civilians. So let's look at the transition to civil rule program that he made. As part of the transition to civil rule program, there were elections on NRC and SDP. This NRC and SDP was the 2 political parties that he brought out by himself. Basic. So to local government councils, state assemblies, state governorship, House of Representatives, and Senate. This system, whereby the military retained power at the center and the civilians were in control of state and local government, could be referred to as diarchy. That was the system he brought, whereby when it comes to the federal, the military will still be in power, while when it comes to state and the local level, the civilians will be in power there. So that system is referred to as diarchy, which is D-I-A-R-C-H-Y, diarchy. Under the transition program, the head of state became known as president. That was his plan. And was the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. Then the vice president was a retired naval officer, Admiral Augustus Akomo. The Armed Forces Ruling Council became the Provisional Ruling Council with membership like the former AFRC. The Federal Executive Council was introduced, made up of civilians and military ministers. The National Council of State comprised the president and civilian elected governors of the state. At the state level, there was the elected state governor and deputy governor, and the elected state houses of assembly members. Okay, before to this, at the state level, there were military administrators which nominated civilian deputy governors. There was election to the National Assembly, Senate, and House of Representatives, but for more than a year, they were not inaugurated. But they held the election. Okay, let's look at the 2 points on the failures of the Babangida administration. Number 1, the regime was characterized by a high level of indiscipline and corruption. You see, what Buhari owned was highly, he focused more on discipline. That was why when in his Buhari's first tenure, when he was coming up, people were shouting, let him go, so that he will continue with his disciplined method of leadership. But you have seen it is now in power. We are not seeing anything. But thank God for where we are. Then number 2, under his failure, which is Babangida's failure, is during this regime, incidents of hard drug pushing by Nigerians became rampant, and there arose drug barons who became emergency millionaires and flouted their ill-gotten wealth. That is one of the his regime's failure. Alright, so this is where we'll stop for today under Babangida administration. Please remember our slogan: pursue knowledge. What you know today is 100% capable of helping you today and tomorrow. In case if you need this third term note, just contact us on 08133577465. Thank you very much for your time.